Life Fight with Jermaine Andre is a positive production of RareGem Productions. For previous episodes or to get new episode updates, subscribe to the Life Fight channel hosted on the Inspiration Network of OneRareGem.com. That's OneRareGem.com for the tools you need to take on your life fight. With World UFC 2-time World Champion, 5-time U.S. Champion Jermaine Andre. Visit JermaineAndre.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Life Fight. Jermaine Andre here with Rebecca Beck sitting in the office with me.
Hi, everyone.
Or the studio, not the office, the studio. But sometimes she's in the office with me, too, when we at the school working. But today, I'm going to be going over, I told you last time on the last podcast, 8 strategies to always be the baddest mofo in any room. So this is going to be a good one for you, teach you how to be the baddest person out there. But before we get into that, I'm going to cover an incident in St. Louis. You know, we always got crazy stuff going on here where a Florissant man, he takes a gun from a woman. He actually takes her gun. She pulled her gun on him and he took it from her. And I believe he pistol whipped her and her friend and then shot her.
Wow. Why did she originally pull it on him?
I'm going to read the story. I think he may have been, attacking her friend or something like that. So I'm going to read it, but it's really important because that's something I always push to everybody because, everybody gets those guns and they think because they got a CCW license and got a gun that they're
invincible.
They're invincible and bulletproof. But a gun is a responsibility, man. And a weapon has no loyalty to its former owner. That means somebody take it from you, they can use it against you.
Right.
So we definitely going to cover that. But before we get into that, I like to always cover something that as far as these, movies and a magnificent martial art movie message. Now, this one is hardcore. I don't know if anybody out there has ever seen a movie called Brother. I know Rebecca's seen it about 15 times because I keep forcing her to watch it.
No, I enjoyed the movie. It's a very good movie.
Yeah, real good. Japanese martial art. No, it's not even Japanese. It's American.
It's American.
But it's a martial art movie, no subtitles. And there's a scene, where you got this Japanese mafia guy. He's an old Yakuza. He got kicked out of Japan over some stuff. He comes to America. He starts a little gang up. And this little gang is doing good. And he's an older man. And there happens to be another Japanese gang in town. He wants to team up with them. Well, this Japanese, his name's Aniki, is the guy I'm talking about, this Japanese guy who starts his little gang in America. And he's got, his little lieutenant with him. And so him and his lieutenant decide that they want to get with this other Japanese gang and combine forces because they're going against the Italian mafia. And they say, we need more men. And so Aniki and his lieutenant go to this other Japanese gang, go to the leader and say, hey, man, if we combine forces, we could really. So the other gang is like, what? I don't need you. What do we need you for, man? Get out of here. Get out of my face. This and that, da, da, da. And so they leave. Well, Aniki's lieutenant knows that, Aniki wanted this merge to happen. So they go down to the limo and Aniki's lieutenant says, hey, I'll be right back. And Aniki says, where are you going? Where are you going? He says, nowhere. I'll be back. And then he just, okay, and leaves. Well, the lieutenant goes back up with these other gang leaders, the other Japanese gang leaders. And he's talking to him. He says, please, I beg of you, to partner up with my brother Aniki, my big brother Aniki. He really wants this to happen. And then he says, I stake my life up on it. And so the other Japanese gang, the two guys, they look at him and say, you stake your life up on it. And they start laughing, ha, 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 and they pull out a gun. And they say, oh, yeah, we're here. And they hand him this gun and they laughing at him, ridiculous. And this guy just sitting at the table. He's a little bitty Japanese guy. You don't think much of him.
Right.
And he looks at, he looked at the lieutenant, they hand the gun to the lieutenant and the lieutenant looks at them and he says, I look forward to you being my brother. And he smiles and he takes the gun, boom, and blows his own head off. Yep. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. So, and then it's funny because the other Japanese guy, they mouth just drops open like,
yeah.
Well, so now they lock in. So they become brothers, of course, with Aniki because of that. But that is such a strong, show of honor that he wanted to prove to him. He said, stake your life on it. Yeah. He said, okay.
Yeah, he didn't think he was serious.
Man. And he blew his head off. But the whole fact that they even said, oh my goodness, this man, that's it. We in.
Yeah.
No question. And when this was so really cool, when they went in, when they joined up with Aniki, they knew they were going against the Italian mafia. Now their operation was already working. They were making money. They were rich. They didn't need no problems.
Yeah.
and they joined up with Anarchy and him, and they knew they were all going to die. Mm-hmm. Remember, he handing out the little pills. Any of you, if the Italian mafia catches you, they will torture you to death.
Yeah.
But we don't need this Anarchy, and they handed out these suicide pills for their whole crew. And they said, we're going to war with them, and we're all going to die. But because that man did that, that was so honorable for him to kill himself in front of them to make that merger happen.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things I said too. That's why you have to be careful of what you ask somebody to do for you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Anarchy was saying we need this merger, and his boy was like, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to put my life on it. Even if it means me dying, you're going to get what you need, boss. Mm-hmm. And so that was just really deep. So if you get a chance, and this movie, brother, all through the whole movie is just action packed.
Yeah, it's a good movie the whole time.
Good movie, really good movie. So make sure you guys look it up and check that out.
Yep.
I'm gonna stop talking about it because this whole podcast will be about that movie if I have my way. I'm telling you. So moving along, a man in Florence. I'm gonna find this on my thing here. Florence and
now you know how it feels having to read when you don't know what you.
I'm fine. Hey, this is my podcast. I can mess up if I want to. I have strong listeners. You know, if they can put up with my crap, they can put up with me making mistakes. So, all right. Florence man takes pistol from woman defending her friend. So there's your answer of what was happening. Shoots her, police say. Okay. University City. Oh, is it St. Louis? Boy, I tell you. Can we get known for something besides being mess ups? A Florence man was charged Tuesday with grabbing a pistol from a woman Monday as she was trying to prevent him from attacking her friend in University City, then beating her and her friend with the gun and shooting one of the women. Wow. Mario Pearson, who turned 31 on Saturday of the 2600 block of Northridge Place, was charged Tuesday with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. He's being held on a $150,000 bail. The 23-year-old, 23 years old, man. The 23-year-old victim pulled out a handgun Monday at a home in the 1200 block of Meyer Street at about 9:20 p.m. when Pearson began to get rough with the victim's friend, court records say. Pearson then took the gun and beat the woman with it. He shot the woman who had originally pulled the gun. Police say she was struck twice in the chest. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, he blasted her. Police said the woman was in critical condition. Pearson's criminal history includes a 2014 conviction of unlawful use of drug paraphernalia, a misdemeanor. And I think that's all they got on it. Yeah, that's it. Now, I'm going to say first, you pull a gun on somebody, you shoot them.
Yeah.
And that's something, too. Even we're dealing with these issues with these police officers and people trying to understand about them shooting. Because I remember even when you had the guy in St. Louis pull the knife and the cops just rolled up and blasted him. Blah, blah, blah. You know, they say the guy had a history of mental illness. And I know one of my family members was saying, well, why couldn't they just shoot him in the leg? You know, and this and I said, well, legally, you can't shoot somebody to injure them. Because you shoot somebody in the leg, it busts a femoral artery, it'll kill them.
You can't shoot him to injure him.
Yeah, you can't say I was shooting him just to injure him.
Oh, you're saying if
that's
you're
deadly force.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shooting somebody's deadly force. You can't shoot somebody with a bullet and say I was just trying to injure them. If that was the case, you shouldn't have shot them. So shooting somebody is deadly force. So when a cop pulls his gun, it's to kill.
Right.
There is no, I was just trying, because let's say he tried shooting his leg and he missed. That's a small target. And then this dude throw the knife. And that's why I said, guys, you got to understand, you could throw a knife and just stab him in his eye. Now this officer lost his eye. So when they pull up and they're dealing with an issue like that, they thinking all that. And if they have to shoot you, it's to kill. So when she pulled the gun, she should have blasted him.
Yeah.
Or else she shouldn't have pulled the gun.
Right.
You know, that's the first thing. You don't use a gun to threaten somebody, you know, anything like that. If he was beating or getting rough with her friend and she pulled it, she should have pulled it and shot him. If she was planning on use for intimidation purposes, she should have made sure she had distance between her and him. A lot of people do that crap, put a gun up in somebody's face or put it up to their chest or touch their head with it, and the guy just take it, away from him. But you don't ever pull a gun unless you're ready to use it. Yeah. Any kind of weapon.
Yeah, you shouldn't be carrying it. And she might have froze up, and that's probably what happened. But then why are you carrying it? You know, if it's self-defense, weapons, all that, that's still why you need to have that training, because when you do get in that situation and you have to use it, that's the hardest part,
Right. Right. And that's a really good point, because that's the point I make, just like right now, we've got the what I call advanced CCW course, and we're doing one Sunday. Mm-hmm. And what it is, people, call, well, hey, are you giving a CCW license? No, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm teaching you how to, if somebody attacks you, how to fight them off, then draw your gun and shoot. How to shoot on the run. Yeah. How to,
under pressure,
if you get knocked on the ground, how to roll away and draw. Make sure you draw at the right amount of time where you can shoot the person instead of, like somebody punch you in the face. and you just try to draw your gun and they're right on top of you and they take your gun from you.
Yep.
You might have to fight first. Here's a kick you can use. Boom, kick this fool. Now he's away from you. Now draw your gun, or he's got a hold of you. Here's an escape to get out of this grab and then draw your gun, and then also I'm going to teach him how to take a gun from somebody in case you have to.
And I notice too, just when I sometimes peek in and because this one I haven't actually taken myself, which I need to take. But I noticed that even, I'll look down and I'll see that they'll be on the ground or they'll still have that pressure on them where they still feel like they're under attack when they're doing it. And that's really what's most important when you're teaching them that. So,
but that's the main thing. Well, this is what you can do. And I said this before. You can take a guy who's a marksman and shooting a target and, just sitting there and pointing the gun and nothing's going on and he's in the woods. He can hit the bullseye every time. But he never does any kind of combat training, like sparring where you panic and things are moving fast. You get punched in the face and all this stuff. All right. And then you can take him and then you take this other guy who doesn't shoot a gun, not a marksman, barely shoots, but he spars and fights all the time. And you put them in a shootout against each other, and the guy who spars all the time is probably going to win.
Right.
Because when panic hits and things like that, all that stuff of how good you can hit a target when there's no threat is gone.
Right.
And that's what I try and teach them is that, guys, you got to have in mind that when this happens, you're going to be afraid. You're going to be shaky.
Yeah.
You might have sweaty palms. You might have been hit already.
Right.
So you got to be thinking and you got to be focused on how to get to that weapon and get to it at the proper time.
Yeah.
And that's probably what happened to her. Either she drew at the wrong time or she drew and she didn't keep it real.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
And he called her bluff. And now she's got 2 bullets in the chest and her friend got pistol whipped also.
Yep. So. That's why you got to do surprise attack back.
That's right. Surprise attack back. Get that brain shock ready. So when you get afraid, we just had one of our students said she was in Chicago this weekend and somebody walked up behind her. One of her friends, she was out there on the weekend. I think it was Cubs versus Cardinals or something like that. And he walked up behind her at night and grabbed her arm and she turned around and threw an elbow and she stopped it right in his face.
She punched him. She punched him right in the belly.
Oh, well, she hit him.
Yeah.
Okay, well, she's getting ready. So she lucky.
She said she's lucky she didn't throw an elbow. Yeah.
Yeah, she realized who it was after she hit him, but it was a natural reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But this is where you as an adult, you have to have a reaction like that. She didn't, get scared and she turned and she was ready to fight.
Right.
And this dude's like, whoa, you're going to kill me.
That's my girl.
Yeah, that's true. It's one of the girls you train. And then, and this dude's like, oh, you're going to kill me. What's up with that? And I say, well, first of all, you shouldn't be, as a grown man, walking up behind people and grab them on dark streets.
Right.
That's common sense, Everybody should be trained to turn, if somebody grab you on the dark street, turn around and smack them.
Right.
So
maybe he deserved the punch in the stomach.
So let's make sure, he did deserve it. Unless he's one of our strong listeners.
Yeah.
Oh, you okay? No, but so just keep that in mind, everybody. When it comes to a gun, owning a gun and knowing how to shoot it into a target does not make you invincible.
Right.
You still have to have training around that teaches you how to control your emotion, spacing, how to fight, how to still physically fight in case somebody gets their hands on your gun. You have what's called weapon retention. That's something I teach where if somebody grabs your gun, how to knock them away and get your gun back from them. You got all kinds of areas outside of that when it comes to self-defense than just owning the biggest gun in the neighborhood and having a license to carry it.
Right.
All right. That's what they give you, a license to carry it. So make sure you got some combat training, even if it's with your hands and feet, where when that situation hits and you realize this is real, this person's getting ready to hurt you, you're used to that kind of situation and your brain doesn't go into shock.
For sure. All right.
All right. Moving along to 8 strategies to always be the baddest mofo in the room. Now, this is the thing. This is some of my secret sauce. Okay, so.
No, I want to ask real quick.
We need to charge for this podcast.
When you say in the room, are you talking in general? Are you talking about at a bar? Are you talking about in someone's house? Are you talking about at the store? Or are you summing it up just in general when you're in a room? In a room. Okay. In general. Okay. Now this can stretch further with those types of questions. Well, what about in an elevator? Well, what about what about at home? What about this and that? And that it changes. Okay. It varies some of the things you would do. Okay. But this would be just for you going somewhere. All right. Strategy number 1, research who's going to be where you're going. All right. If, let's say we get ready to go out and go to somewhere. And this is something I use, of all the time. And they just had the, the National Wrestling Tournament downtown. Yeah. All right. And it was right by the landing where all the bars are at. You got all these bars on the landing. And that all of these losing wrestlers are going to be going out there getting drunk tonight. Yeah. Because it was a college championships. So there's going to be a lot of pissed off badasses running around down there. So guess where I'm not going? Right. I'm not going to an area where there are going to be a ton of
badasses in there getting drunk and inebriated that just lost.
Yeah.
Because they probably going to be trying to reprove themselves. So when I say know who's going to be where you're going, that's an idea. Or let's say we're going to go to a concert, okay, and Taylor Swift's in town. Or NWA's in town, the Ghetto Boys in town. Okay, I know if I go to the Ghetto Boys concert or, NWA, who's the gangster rappers nowadays? Lil Wayne is supposed to be a gangster rapper, who's some other ones? Drake? You don't even know. Yeah, I don't think there's any real gangster rappers nowadays. Anyway, but if I go to a Drake concert, there's probably going to be some pistol packing gangbangers there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Know who's going to be where you're going. If you're trying to be the baddest mofo in the room, don't go to a place where everybody there is the baddest mofo in the room,
right? Because
then you're not it.
Right.
So that's strategy number one.
Good strategy.
Strategy number two is wear loose-fitting clothing that you can fight in. This is a big one. I know this just from bouncing. I always watch people come in, especially dudes, in tight jeans and, shoes that they slipping and falling in. They get into a fight, and the biggest failure was their attire.
Yeah.
Or they got these tight leather jackets on. They can't even try to throw a punch, and the jacket restricts their punch, and they miss. Or the other guy beats them to the punch because he moved faster because his clothing was looser than his. So that's something.
So that's a male side. So are you saying you don't want us women wearing tight mini skirts and high heels?
No. No, I'm saying you got to know that, okay, now we're going back to number one. If you're going somewhere, like let's say if we're going out to, let's say we're going to the NWA concert or the Ghetto Boys concert, then you probably don't need to wear a miniskirt and high heels because there's going to be some hood rats in there wanting to fight, and it's possible to get into a fight. So that goes back to number one. So if you don't go to that type of place, let's go to Taylor Swift concert. You know what I'm saying? Now we're okay. It probably ain't going to be no gangbangers and people like that there.
Right.
So now you're wearing that. But then what I also tell women is if you got your high heels and your miniskirt on, you better have a weapon that compromises all that.
Yeah.
So, you got your pepper spray or you got your gun or you got your knife or whatever it is so you can fight in the type of gear you
Which is hard too. They don't make a lot, unless they do, I might be out of it. Do they make a lot like where a woman could fit it in her bra?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I've showed you that. Well, they got sports bras that's made to hold guns, knives, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got all kinds of stealth things. You can put weapons in your shoes.
You're not in a high heel though.
Yeah, you can. Haven't shown you that yet. Moving along.
Come on now.
Moving along. You need to make more payments to the academy. They won't move you into that. All right, so your clothing does matter. Always make sure you got clothing, and you can have good-looking clothing that you can still fight in, but you need to just keep in mind whenever you're putting your clothes on, can I defend myself in this?
Right.
And if you say I can't, then you better equalize it.
Yeah.
And get a weapon or be ready to kick those high heels off and fight barefooted.
Yeah.
So just keeping that kind of stuff in mind. If you're going, I remember one time they had the outdoor right there on Washington Street in St. Louis, and they had the outdoor party. And it was me, you, Daryl, all of us.
Yeah.
And remember, I had to carry you. You had some high heels on. They destroyed your feet. And I had to carry you. Now, this was it was thug life like crazy out. I mean, it was shootings happening. Somebody started shooting and everybody was running. Of course, they were running the opposite direction of us. And me and Daryl was mad. We don't like that people bust. We said we was going to find who it was and we was going to take them out. So we started looking for who was shooting. But I'm carrying Rebecca on my back. Remember, your feet were swelling up and everything. But if you're going to that type of thing where you're walking around outside, they probably know high heels. Oh, yeah. So again, that goes back to, knowing where you're going.
They were like my favorite pair of high heels. I had to throw them away.
Yeah. Yeah, the ground destroyed your shoes and your feet. So another one, and this kind of goes to what you were just talking about, assure that your footwear is slip-proof and snug. So
no flip-flops, Jermaine.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about flip-flops. I hate those dumb things. So, if you're going somewhere, floors get wet. Especially if you're at a concert, you're at a bar, you're at a club, anywhere you go, because you think about where an attack can probably happen. It probably, and I'm not saying it's not, don't ever say it's not, but it's probably not going to happen at Walmart, grocery store, anywhere like that, even though, sporadic attacks happen in those places. But if you're a person who enjoys the nightlife, then that's where that kind of crap happens. People are drunk. Criminals know that people are carrying money and they're drunk. Mm-hmm. So they're out looking to attack in those areas. So if you're going to that type of environment, that type of venue facility, you're in a place where the floors are usually hard, drinks get spilled, you can slip.
Probably dirty, sticky.
Yeah, dirty, sticky. So you want to have, rubber sole shoes so you got more of a grip, and shoes that stay on your feet. Because I've even seen that happen where people get into it and they start fighting and somebody's shoe will fly off.
Yeah.
And then when the shoe fly off, he's got no traction. Now, boom, they got him on the ground, they beating his brains in. Mm-hmm. We're saying that was the cause right there.
Right.
He lost his shoe, but he had these super big old tennis shoes on that wasn't tied, and they wasn't tight. He looked cool until he started getting his butt kicked. Now he got a $150 shoe sitting on the floor covered in blood, his own blood, So, your footwear. So we don't even talk about high heels, so we already covered that one.
As long as you gentlemen have this taken care of, then us women can do what we want.
Well, that's if you got the right gentleman. But you know what I say to that? When the female may have to save the man one day.
I know.
Because if attack happens, they probably going to crack the dude in the back of the head first.
Yeah.
Now, she's got to save herself and him. Mm-hmm. So she still got to be prepared and ready. The next one is carry secluded weapons. Now, this is pretty heavy because you're going to say, okay, what kind of secluded weapons? When I say secluded weapons, seclusion means nobody knows you have it. The best weapon is one that's unknown. The key to winning any kind of fight is the element of surprise. And when I'm talking about a weapon, you use a weapon for self-defense, not to hurt somebody else.
Right.
And, we all know that usually when you go places, especially if you go into a gangster rap place or heck, the airplane, they are trying to strip you of anything you can use to defend yourself. But there are going to be people in there who got weapons.
Right.
And if you get into it with them, you're on your own. That's just like going on an airplane. They make sure you ain't got nothing. They don't care about your safety as far as that goes. And they trying to keep everybody else. And of course, TSA's got the best security in the world in regards to that. But when you go to a nightclub and they pat down everybody at the door, I guarantee you there's 30 people in there that they didn't pat down because one knows the manager, the other one knows the bar manager, the other one knows the owner, and then he's a cousin of the rapper, and and these are all idiots with weapons.
Right.
And you're in there with them and you have nothing. They make sure you didn't get nothing in.
Yeah.
But the bouncer at the front door, his boy Jaquan, he let him in with a gun.
Right.
That's his boy. So, and he's the drunkest idiot in the place. So I always say you have to have secluded weapons, And secluded weapons, that's why I was telling you can hide stuff in your shoes. I'm trying, let me think of something really good. I always say ink pens, know how to use an ink pen. Small pocket knives, Couboutons, come in real handy. There's all types of weapons you can make. There's even a credit card. You can take a credit card, cut the edges and sharpen it. And then you've got yourself a knife right there. All kinds of things, take not a Ziploc bag, but saran wrap and take crushed red pepper.
Ooh.
Red pepper powder.
Yeah.
A cayenne pepper powder and put it in that saran wrap and then tie it up, put a twist tie on it. Put it in your pocket, put it in your purse. And then when you got a problem, you open it up, put it in your hand, roll it in somebody's eyes. Woo!
Yeah.
Game over, buddy. You know what I'm saying? So, there's just some. I'm not going to give you all my secrets either because I'm always loaded down, baby. But, you always have some kind of secluded weapons you can carry. And I am planning on actually putting together a report or a video, to show you things like that, because I think everybody has to have the right to defend themselves at all times, no matter where you're at. And there's too many places you go where they strip you of your defenses.
Yeah.
And I know they're stripping you, and there's tons of idiots in the area that got stuff on them who shouldn't even be allowed in the place.
Right.
So that's one of the another one of the strategies of
which, by the way, I do have a secluded area. I put my self-defense too. I just couldn't let everybody know where it's at.
Well, of course you can't, or then it wouldn't be secluded. You'll lose your element of surprise. And that's why I say I'll give away some secrets, like the ones I just gave. They're pretty good. The credit card idea, things like that. You still got to be careful because I know they got the new credit card knife. You got ink pen knives, things like that. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because those things still you can get caught with. You try to take that credit card knife onto an airplane. They're going to throw down on you M16s, M4s. You try the ink pen knife the same way. They know that. And they'll pull it apart and then you're going to be eating concrete. You know what I'm saying? So there are other ways and other things you can use as weapons. There's so many things that you can use as weapons that people don't know about.
Oh, yeah.
Study the layout of the venue so you can manipulate the terrain. That's a really good one, knowing where the stairs are. You know what I'm saying? You can push somebody down the stairs, work them towards the stairs and hit them and knock them down the stairs. That's one of the best weapons in the world.
Right.
Is a flight of steps, knowing where chairs are. Somebody's rushing you. You can throw a chair under their feet. They'll trip under that chair and that probably will take them out. If not, it's going to put them on the ground where that's buying you time to escape, buying you time to hit somebody, hurt somebody.
Right.
Knowing where your escape routes are, all that kind of stuff. But always when you walk into somewhere, study the terrain. What kind of place is this? What's where, what kind of things you can work yourself and maneuver yourself around.
Yep,
that's something that'll help.
Knowing where the bottles are to hit over the head, knowing where that kind of stuff is too.
Well, that's actually the next one. Identifying potential household weapons upon entering. Fire extinguisher. That's pepper spray.
Yeah.
Not to mention you can crack somebody in the head with it. Silverware. You can stab somebody with a fork, stab somebody with a knife, if you're in a restaurant type area.
Yeah.
Even most bars, if they serve food, there's silverware there. That's a weapon for you. Loose chairs, chairs that aren't bolted to the ground. That's a clubbing item.
Yeah.
You can throw that at somebody. And they hit them, it's going to hurt, and it buys you time.
Mm-hmm.
So, loose lamps, if you got any lamps that's just sitting on tables, things like that.
Right.
You can always look for things that you can use as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that's the first thing I do. Even when I go on an airplane, I see so many things I can use as a weapon on an airplane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That if something happens and then, and I need to get, and I'm not the federal marshal. I don't have my gun. He got his, he's safe. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not.
Yeah.
Neither are my people. So I'm always looking and finding things that I can detach and take apart. And, if I need to, I can get a hold of this. I need to, this and that. A laptop.
Yeah.
You crack somebody in the face with a laptop, that's going to buy you some serious time.
Mm-hmm.
A laptop can also be used to defend against a knife. You got the guys who, in 911, they jumped up with the box cutters. Somebody, the simple briefcase could have been used to fight against that knife and then to get these fools down to the ground.
Right.
So just understanding that you always got things that surround you that you can use, as a weapon.
So speaking of the stuff that you would do, are you considered a lethal weapon when it comes to you being able to fight back? Do you understand what I'm asking you? Like, can you?
Yes, I am considered lethal. I'm a registered lethal weapon.
Yeah. So do you have, I always get confused because I hear you say a lot when you're considered a lethal weapon, when you have the right to fight back or not the right to fight back.
Oh, yeah. So that's funny because, a lot of people always, I think I understand. I get the gist of what you're asking. People will say, man, you're a registered lethal weapon. So if somebody hits you, you can't hit them back. Try me and watch how I unload on you. You know what I'm saying? What it is like the law's harsher on somebody like me. My hands or feet is just like a gun. Mm-hmm. Okay. But if you can shoot somebody, I can blast you with my fist.
Right.
But me blasting you with my fist is considered like shooting somebody. Let's say we're out and some drunk dude, and he's messing with me. I'm like, get away from me. And what's the sun? And he throws a loppy punch at me. It's assumed that I can block and dodge this punch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And arm bar him or flip him, hip toss him and not have to, instead of you son of a, and unloading on him.
Yeah, but that's not really fair that just because you're considered a lethal weapon that you can't fight back and you have to try to avoid the situation.
Yeah, but it's different than fighting back for somebody like me who's trained of when it's really self-defense or when I'm just, doing enough to stop somebody. Mm. And that's what I'm saying. This drunk dude is just swinging and, and it's obvious that I could beat him easily.
Yeah.
And I'm controlling him easily. Then if I unload on him, that's more a bad attitude.
Yeah.
I still have to have, especially as a lethal weapon, I have to have a strong sense for humanity and care for humanity. Mm-hmm. I can't just be out there waiting for somebody to try something so I can beat their brains in.
Right.
They don't want me out there. And I don't want nobody out there.
Which everybody's lucky because you look out for where you're going and you have all these strategies anyway.
I'm always make sure I'm the baddest mofo in the room.
Yeah.
So I'm always good on that one. So, yeah, but no, I do have the right to defend myself. And now if somebody attacks me and they're a threat, and let's say some big old giant football player swing and, he hit me and I'm hurt, honestly, he's probably going to be demised that night because I'm going to unload with all my training because he has the potential to hurt me. I'm not going to sit there and just punch him in his nose. You better back off. I'm a lethal weapon. And then my training is a reaction and a response. And that's going to help me in court. When I say, dude, I trained to be like this.
Yeah.
And when he hit me, that was my response. Now, once I drop him and he's on the floor, if I start just stomping on him like I'm in Pride, or something like that, then you done went too far. But my hands and feet is just like shooting somebody. So if some dude was to push me in a bar, I can't just start, hit him with a jab, cross hook, cross leg kick, and 4 knees to the face. You know what I'm saying? They're going to say, dude, come on, Jermaine.
Right.
You're supposed to be better than that. The dude pushed you. You're supposed to have control of your own temper, your own attitude, and things like that, where you don't. That'd be just like if you push somebody, you pull a gun, pow, 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 and blast him. They're going to say, dude, you didn't have to shoot him. All he did was push you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of the same thing.
That makes sense.
So there's your answer for that. Where was I? Okay. And the next one for being the baddest mofo in any room you enter is maneuver your backside where no one is ever behind you. And this is one that I'm huge on. I don't like anybody behind me no matter where I'm at. And
not even at a restaurant.
Not even at a restaurant. That's why I always tell them to sit me, where I can see everybody. Because if anybody wants to start being stupid, then I got eyes. I can see it happening before it happens. So try to keep people from behind you.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to be the baddest mofo because when people behind you, for one thing I noticed, if you go somewhere and you got some little jerks who, you know, just the jerks in the area, when you're facing them and looking at them, they don't start to build up.
Yeah.
They don't start to agitate, you know, because you can see them. So they're not over there talking smack and pumping their boys up and pumping their own self up, you know, what they're going to do, what they think they can do. You know, that's how then they drink some more beers and liquor curves start kicking in. Next thing you know, they trying something. You know, when your back's to them, that's how they act.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I ain't afraid of him. I'll do this. Well, now they're pointing at you because you can't see them. You know, they're trying to act bold in front of their boys. But when you're facing them, all that shuts all that down, you know, because they know, oh, he might see what I'm saying or what I'm doing.
Right.
I don't really know. So that's one of the things, you know, and then just keep people from behind you.
Yeah.
So that's a strong one. And that's one, you know, I know you noticed one time we were where we were at Ballpark Village and we were inside. And this is how strong my instinct is on this. And where Rebecca even noticed it, we were inside at Ballpark Village and we were at the bar on the main floor where they got the giant screen. Okay. And my back was at the bar and we were looking at the giant screen and I was cool. And we were hanging out, talking, everything was fine. And then we left and we went outside. And then you were like, well, I don't want to leave yet. I want to hang out a little bit more because it was nice outside. And I was like, you know, and I'm looking all around and stuff. And you're like, you know, hey, I want to go. I don't want to go yet. I was like, okay. So we went up to the bar outside, you know, and you ordered a drink. And I was facing, you know, the bar. And then I turned my back and you were like, you know, I was just sitting there and you were trying to talk to me. And I wasn't really responding. And you were like, hey, what's wrong with you? I see you just changed all of a sudden. I said, I'm not comfortable out here. You said, well, why not? I said, there's people all around me from every area. I can't get my back against the wall or anything. And you say, well, your back was, and when you were inside, you had your back was the bar. I said, yeah, but it was my back was at the bar where there was nobody but the bartenders there. And it would have took somebody who would have had to jump through all of that to get to me. So I still had my back in a secure area, you know, and you were like, wow, but that showed you how much I changed. Just, you know, I wasn't even thinking like that and how you noticed that. Yeah. And so you were like, well, what do we need to do? I said, we need to go sit over there. And where we went set some chairs where I could see everything. Right. And then, okay, now let's have some fun. Now, what were you talking about? You know, but that's how you should be. You know, you should be on guard.
I'm glad you remembered that because I don't remember that.
I'm sure you do. Moving along, this is not about the 8 ways to destroy your workout, drinking liquor. This is really good. The next one is befriend the tough guys and bring your own. This is good when, you know, let's say you're going somewhere to hang out. Look for who the tough guys are. Yeah. You know, the guys that look tough, that look strong, you know, the bouncer, you know, befriend them. Right. Say hi to them. Say what's up to them. Make sure that the toughest guy's in there. And I'm not talking about jerks. You know, if there's jerks in there, then you probably don't want to be at that spot. There's a difference between a tough guy and a jerk. Yeah. But the guys who look like, you can look at somebody and see that they're about something. Yeah. And they ain't trying to start trouble and things like that, you know, and befriend them. Yeah. You know, and that's how it is. Usually where I go, you always see that the biggest muscle-boundest guys in there, either they know me or we're going to meet each other that night. Right. And then now because they're trying to click up with me anyway. Right. You know, and then outside of that, I said, if we get ready to go to, I don't know, Jay-Z a gangster rapper? Would we consider him a gangster rapper? I don't know. Okay, we get ready to go to the Ice-T or the Ice Cube concert. There we go. We won't put Jay-Z in that class yet. But the Ice Cube concert, and I know it's going to be Thug Central up in there. Then I'm bringing my boys. Yeah. You know, I got a heavy-hitting, hard-hitting crew, too, to make sure I'm still the baddest mofo in the room. So now when you're looking over at me talking all that smack, I got 30 guys, you know, and 5 of them police officers. So now, you know what I'm saying? So that's still keeping that edge of either befriending the tough guys or bring your own. Right. And that'll help you to remain the baddest mofo in the room.
Jermaine, do you want to go to a gangster rap concert? Because you've mentioned it about 6 or 7 times.
I don't understand how people go to concerts. Do you know what would happen at a concert if I was in there? You ever seen a mosh pit?
You wouldn't last.
I'd be just knocking people out. I couldn't handle it, man. I'd get off. It looked like a video game down there. It looked like Matrix. Remember, I think in Matrix 3, he was hitting all the, Mr. Anderson was hitting all of the dudes, the agents with the metal pole. Looked like a pinball game. That's what it looked like. I'd have an anxiety attack with all those wild clowns around me. Yeah. You know, I told you the only concert I've ever been, well, except for Bodyguard, but the only concert I've ever been to where I actually was at the concert for it was Disturbed. And that was, but they were friends. I was with them in the back room and everything. Yeah. So they put me in the sound booth one time. I had a seat way right behind them, you know, but I could, and I look at that crowd down. I'm like, man, if I was in the middle of that, you know, I couldn't do it, you know. So yeah, no concerts for me. Well, last but not least on, you know, being the baddest mofo in the room is you have to know your escape routes. Know how to bail. Yeah. You have to have a way to retreat. You know, anything that happened, because it could be a fire. You know, it ain't doing no good if you all tattooed up and lifting your weights and you've been doing your kung fu and your karate and doing your MMA training. You are the toughest dude in the room and a fire break out. You can't even find the exit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you get burnt to death.
Right.
You know, you got to protect yourself in all ways and all areas. Or somebody comes through the door and starts unloading with an automatic weapon. You don't want to be catching bullets. So knowing the escape routes. So that's one of the main things, making sure you got a path to the escape route and knowing exactly where all of them are.
So will you go somewhere if there's not 2 exits?
Well, if there's not two, most buildings it's illegal not to have 2 exits in them. Even though I have been in some where they're on, I try to sit by the main exit.
The main one.
I mean, the front door. Yeah, I don't want to get pinned in, where I'm just a goldfish in a bowl.
Right.
You at the back door, something go down and you can't get to the exit right there.
Yep. Good stuff, Jermaine.
So there's some of my secrets on some strategies. That was 8 strategies to always be the baddest mofo in any room. I hope it helped you out a little bit. To help you out, son?
Well, I always have the baddest mofo in the room, so I don't need strategies.
Yeah, but you do need strategies. Like I said, what if something happened to me? Yeah, but that's true. You do always have the baddest mofo, and that's why you can't go wherever you want to go either. Because the first number one, I always say, research who's going to be there where I'm going, and that's the number one for me. So, well, that's it for this session. I hope we gave you some good stuff to help you out. Once again, remember you can go on my Facebook page, any kind of questions or topics you'd like me to cover. I'm always happy to answer any kind of questions. I can answer right there on Facebook, and I can even bring it on the podcast. We're on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Go check us out. Leave those reviews if you can. And
check out his YouTube page, too. He's got a lot of good videos on there.
Yeah, check out my YouTube page, attack-back.com also. But my YouTube's got some fun stuff on there also. Sometimes I start acting a little silly, so you can see some things on there of me clowning, like I made a knockout video on there to, what was the song? The Go to Sleep song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
a nursery rhyme.
The nursery rhyme. so it's pretty funny. It was so funny that it made a dean from out of town want to bring me in to speak at their college because he said, if this dude is such a beast to be knocking people out and he has a sense of humor to create something like that of himself, that's the kind of personality we want around.
Absolutely.
So you might enjoy it.
You are all personality too.
Yeah, I get too much sometimes. But so check that out. And everybody, appreciate you listening. Keep listening to us. Send those reviews in. We will respond, read them on the air. Thanks again for Life Fight. Jermaine Andre signing out. Rebecca Beck.
Bye.
All right, goodbye, everybody. See you next time. Remember, there's more to life than just fighting.
For all things Jermaine Andre, get books, get trained. Learn the secrets behind his brawn, his brain, and his edge. Visit JermaineAndre.com. Life Fight with Jermaine Andre is another positive production of RareGem Productions. Thanks for listening.